Nacho Average Tabletop. Woohoo!
Welcome to Nacho Average Tabletop. I'm Zach.
And I'm Pepper.
And today we're going to be letting you know if we think that this expansion for My Little Scythe, Pie in the Sky, is worth adding to your collection. If it's one that, if My Little Scythe is a game that you tend to enjoy.
Yeah.
And this one was sent to us by Stonemaier Games to kind of take a look at and review. So take everything we say with a little grain of salt, but you can check out. None of these were sent to us, but we did a whole month of Stone Timber almost a year ago now. So there is a ton of Stonemaier content on our channel if you like Stonemaier games. You can check those out, including the original My Little Scythe, and kind of get our. I think we have a review and a playthrough. So if you want to kind of see how that's played, if you've never even heard of My Little Scythe, you can see that, so you know what the base game's like, and then we'll kind of be talking about kind of what the things this one adds, and whether or not it's worth expanding the game, in our opinion.
Yep.
So, we've gotten, I think,
played more with this expansion than probably without it.
Yes, because this is definitely, if you've never played My Little Scythe, it's kind of, and you've maybe played Scythe, it's kind of a very toned down version of Scythe. You can feel little bits of Scythe, but I would say that it's not a ton. I mean, you can see where
some core
things are
concepts are there, but definitely lighter versions, and just a lot of the extra different paths that you can go on in Scythe are not in this one. It's much more family friendly, straightforward.
Which, I think that's
definitely
what it's going for. So
that's
not. It's not like trying to surprise you. It wasn't like they promised Scythe or anything. So this is exactly what it's promised to be. And
imagine there was someone out there who was just very disappointed.
There might be. So this one is kind of, and I always forget the name, so I'm probably going to forget it again, but I think I remembered it. The original Scythe had an expansion, had two different expansions. One added new characters, which was Invaders from Afar, and then there was another one that added airships, and it is the Wind Gambit,
yes,
I believe.
You got it right.
So this one kind of did both, sort of.
Yep.
So it added two new characters, kind of, that you could play with. In this one, you get two pawns. Yep. One is slightly darker than the other. It's not overly noticeable.
That's true. I didn't actually notice that, but we got kind of some foxes and some owls, and they're amazing sculpts, amazing miniatures, just like in the base game. Mm-hmm. I think production-wise, like components are just on par exactly with what wonderful original.
Yep. So these are some very solid components, and for the airship, actually, in the Scythe one, so this might be a little bit of a comparison to that as well, but it really doesn't need to be. In that game, each player gets their own airship. In this one, you're sharing one around the board. So I was wondering kind of how that would work, and I would say that. And I think we might have a video kind of maybe talking about, I don't know if you were in on it, but the Scythe expansions.
I haven't played any of the expansions, so I don't think I was in it.
You probably weren't in it. But the airships, I would say, were probably one of the weakest points in the whole kind of all the expansions.
Yep.
I like Rise of Fenris the most, which wasn't either of those that I named before. But the airships were, I don't know, they just didn't.
For as cool of an idea as it was,
yes, they look very cool, and I was just hoping for a little bit more. It just was a little tough. So I was wondering how this would feel, because it felt like that was going to kind of be the main thing, because in this game, there's not really as much of the player variability, although they did add a little bit with this expansion as well. But I was like, I don't know if I really... the two characters alone aren't like something that's going to necessarily sell me on it. I mean, they're nice, cool miniatures and stuff, but
without the variable player powers, there is no difference added there, other than if you have that insert. I think that's in every version. You can fill up the insert finally with those characters.
So this stuff all fits in the insert, which is nice. But I knew it felt like the main thing was going to be that airship and how that actually added to the game. And I would say I like what this one does a lot more than what they do in the Wind Gambit. And I feel like sharing it actually makes it a lot easier than having your own individual ship. Just the way they used it, it came into play a lot more than I remember.
Yeah.
In a couple of games with the ships in normal side. So, and it just gave you ways to kind of collect resources so that they couldn't really be stolen from you.
Yep.
And then also, this is where the kind of new variable player power kind of came into play. Along with that, you could potentially activate like a special ability related to where that ship ended up being. So I really liked what it added to the game because for me, just because I don't have any kids and I don't tend to play with any younger people, I think, I don't remember what I rated this one, but it's probably one of my lower rated, my little size, probably one of my lower rated Snowmare games. But I think this one added a little bit more to it and would probably bump it up for me a little bit, and I would definitely always play with it.
Yeah, I agree too. Obviously, I can't compare it to that original expansion for Scythe that added those or anything like that, but this delivered for me when I saw that miniature and how excited I got from it, similar to you with Scythe, and you were disappointed. I was not disappointed with this one, and I'm glad to hear that you feel that same way as well, because I was like, oh, maybe this one's just as bad of an airship, and we have differing opinions, but it looks like we are in agreement. I would always play with this as well, and it does add a little bit, possibly some more Take That, because you can really have a lot more range to get different resources and actually secure them. I think there are some abilities. I think there's something that they've added, because they've added a couple of quest cards as well as a couple of special upgrade tokens, and I think there is a way to possibly take it from someone's cargo. Maybe not, I forget, but thought maybe, but it's pretty secure in there, and that's one thing with Scythe and with my little Scythe is your resources are on the board. Whoever's in that spot controls those resources. So I thought it was a nice little mix-up that you can secure. Not a lot. You're not like just raking in tons of resources when you do that, but just one at a time. You can actually get a little bit safe resources that you can always count on. And I thought that was a great addition to it, especially for children. Maybe it's not the best to, not that the parents probably shouldn't be
going after
them and taking their resources, but this is something that maybe they can feel a little more sure about, and maybe not have those, I don't know what to do, they just took all my resources, not a good experience. Right. So yeah, I really loved it. That as well as the variable player powers that they add. One especially feels a lot more fun and cool and powerful than the others, and we tested it out, just kind of spamming some of the actions back and forth, and this one did end up winning. You got down to you could have gotten down to 2 trophies, but still that is quite a bit, because you weren't very close to those other 2, so I don't know if they're perfectly balanced, but I do love that it adds just something unique, some twist where it didn't really have that at all in the first game.
I 100% agree. I would, just say that some of them, I don't know exactly for balance-wise and stuff, and maybe it's dependent on player count as well. But yeah, some definitely felt funner than others, I thought. Yep. But maybe, I think some of them where you need your opponent to be on an airship space, that would probably be a little bit better in kind of a higher player count game, because then you're more likely to have an opponent on that same space. Just in a 2-player game, that's likely not gonna always happen. It will, but probably not nearly enough to make it worth it. And because you're either triggering your action or you're gaining one of those resources to your cargo hold. So typically, then in that case, you'll just be like, well, at that point, I'll just add it to that. So there's a little bit of that, but I do like that they added a little bit of kind of that variability. So
yeah.
But yeah, I would say for sure, for My Little Scythe, if you're looking for just a little bit extra to the game that kind of just gives it a little bit more to chew on, I think this is a great expansion to add on. I think it's relatively affordable as well, so if it's one you want to fill up the rest of your box, like you said, it all fits back in there pretty nicely, so it's not like you have to have an extra expansion box on your shelf or something. You can definitely just put that in there and it'll fit. But yeah, I think it's a great addition. Like I said, I would never play without it. But at the same time, just in general, I would prefer playing Scythe.
Yeah.
My preference.
Yeah, and I think this does make it a lot more likely to play for me. I'd be a lot more excited to get it back to be using that airship. So yeah, I would always play with this one. And if you're a big fan of My Little Scythe, I would totally recommend. It's almost a must-have. I think, unless you are playing it with kids and they are pretty young, then you could probably wait a little while to add that variability, that extra thing to think about.
It's tough to really tell since I don't have kids, and then I don't really interact with too many young children. I don't know like at what age or level I would say to add it on, but I think it does add just a little extra to it. But yeah, it's there's some of the things on here that I think if they're already understanding some of these other things, I don't know that it's going to be that much more.
Yeah, I think it would probably be about the same level. I don't think it increases the complexity, just the kind of variability and options.
So yeah, those are our thoughts on My Little Scythe, Pie in the Sky. Definitely worth checking out if you're a big fan of My Little Scythe. But yeah, otherwise you can, like I said, you can check out some of our other videos on just the base game, and if you want to see a playthrough of it. I don't know if do I win that one. I might win that one.
You might have won that one.
I don't know.
Find out.
You can go check that out. Spoils. Sorry. But otherwise, we hope to see you on that video. And as always, don't forget to
keep on nibbling
on our content.